Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It is Sunday night. I'm Gav. Keith, Emma, and Shawnee join me as Liverpool have decided that the squad is brutal and they're just going to sell everyone and buy a load of new fellas. Which is, I have to be honest with you, it's exciting. It's lighting up a lot of days in this transfer window. Um, Keith, I'm going to come to you first. When the season ended, we're champions, we win a league, we're kind of like, yeah, we could just get one there and one there, and maybe, a little bit of tweaking, and we'll go again. Arne Slot is, no, he's had enough, Keith. Any of the lads that didn't do enough, he's literally going to get rid of them all and sign new fellas, Keith. And you asked me what we're going to start talking about at the start of this show. I want to talk about how far he's going to go with this summer. Because I don't think he's anywhere near the end of what he wants to do here.
Yeah, it just seems like it's going to be one of them crazy summers that we haven't seen in a long, long time. And even then, like when you go back to the summer, we bring in Salah and all that, like big summer. But this just seems more like a ruthless summer by Slot, because we're on the back of winning the league, we're on the back of being champions, and instead of, I wouldn't say resting on our laurels, instead of thinking, right, these lads are all good, what we actually seen through the season was that Slot was maybe not trusting some of the players that he had as the season was going on. A lot of players weren't getting the minutes they thought they would, or maybe that we thought they would have got the minutes. And they're the players now that are seemingly getting pushed towards an exit. Jarell Kwanzaa, we all had high hopes for. First game of the season, gets the bleeding hook at half time and never really recovers from it. He gets a few appearances here and there throughout the season, but it was pretty clear that it was a ruthless move by Slot at the time. Harvey Elliott made his first start of the season with about 3 games to go. These are players that we all thought, they're good players, good to have around. Arne Slot's thinking different. He's thinking, right, can I upgrade in these positions? Yeah, and I'm going to upgrade. And if you look at the players we've been linked with, huge upgrades in reality. You can be as much of a Jarell Kwanzaa fan as you like, and I think he was a good player, promising player, but give me Marc Guehi any day of the week. And I'm not a huge Guehi fan, but he's a grown-up footballer. He's a captain. He's a captain who's won a cup. He's an international footballer, so I can see why they would want to bring him in. Again, I wouldn't say I'm frothing at the mouth to get Marc Guehi in, but it just shows that Slot doesn't seem to want lads that might be good someday. He wants lads who are going to be good now. And we're bringing in like Jeremy Frimpong, and we're bringing in Florian Wirtz, and we're looking to finalise Milos Kerkez, and now we're being linked with Alexander Isak. Won't go away. He's like a bad smell, like a turd that won't flush when it comes to Liverpool. He's just constantly being linked, which makes you think there has to be something somewhere in that link, because there's nothing the Liverpool journals like more than poo-pooing a transfer link, and it's just not being done. And now we're looking at Guehi, and you're still seeing other links to other players. Anthony Gordon is still being linked. We're still being linked with central midfield players. So it's going to be a mad summer. It's going to be a strange summer in the sense that, I don't want Liverpool to be doing this all the time. This is Arne Slot got his year. He worked with the players. Everything from the forward side. Again, I've said this on multiple shows. You read and hear the stuff they were saying, and they all said Slot will break that team up and he'll build his own team. Yeah, if that's what he's doing here, great. And then going forward, you don't want to be too drastic. And I think that's what Liverpool have been set up for here. It's a rebuild, doing it all at one time. And we've all said, all of us have said, oh, is it a bit too much at the one time? But we don't say that when Man City do it. We wouldn't say it if, Real Madrid are doing it. So maybe it's a case of we're not replacing all our star men. We're just replacing our fringe players here with better, improved options, with the odd exception in that we're bringing in a star man in Florian Wirtz, and we're bringing in players that will be attacking that first 11. And I think that's really important to do. And I think, if you're not at the level, this puts a rocket up them. If you're not at the level, you're out the gap. Whether you're a name or not, you're gone. So I think it's really good by Liverpool. It might turn out that we only signed the 2 that we have and one more, unlikely. It's not going to happen. Everything's pointing towards busy. You know, even if we listen to what Slot said at the end of the season, if we listen to what Virgil said, if we listen to everything, it was a big summer, and we were all probably a bit skeptical and a bit of trepidation about that. But it's turning out to be a really, really big summer for Liverpool. And when you read the stuff on social media and the absolute scutter that's coming out by rival fans about Liverpool buying the league and buying this, you can just tell that there's a little bit of fear in what Liverpool are building, and wouldn't want that any other way.
Shawnee, you said something to me the other day. You know, we all love transfers. Well, a lot of people love transfers, and sometimes you look and you go, "Oh, we've signed 2 or 3 really good ones, and this guy has so much potential and stuff like that." But you said to me the other day, you said, "No, we're signing win now footballers. That's what we're doing. We're not signing what we might end up with a signing towards the end of the season when you go, oh, he's a project and he might be a backup to Salah or something along them lines." But you said to me, "We win now footballers," and that's starting to look for. To me, it's starting to look like, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, because it's not like, when you look at it, it's not a huge overturn of players. It's not like 7 in and 3 out. It's not like we're just flooding it with numbers. We're literally going 1 for 1 here. Florian Wirtz is probably the outlier. But when you look at it and you look at the players that are coming in as opposed to the ones that are going out or gone out, he's upgrading everywhere and he wants to win now. He's not interested in projects. He wants bona fide players and he wants them now.
I just have one question. Is anyone saying Arne Slot and Keith Plunkett in the same room?
I was going to say.
Well, Gareth Cambridge did say Arne Slot is having a Keith Plunkett summer.
Yeah, I was just because it just needs to be confirmed, but it'd be huge if true.
True, yeah.
That was that Keith didn't come on the last weekend of the season. Well, he didn't come with us anyway.
Yeah,
he was on the bus. Like he was like Evil Bart on the bottom deck of the bus looking out through the final. Gav, to go back to the transfers. I'd love to know, like, I know someone will have crunched the numbers. I'd love to know in terms of outgoings how many minutes we're sending out the door this summer, in terms of, like, I'd love to know Trent aside, because Trent is probably one that we did want to keep and we haven't managed to keep. But nearly every other player that's going out the door is on by the want of the gaffer. I'd say the player who's probably played the most minutes this summer that we've sold is probably going to be Kelleher. Like that, and that'll tell you sort of where we're going. Like we seen in the back end, I think there's been a few auditions this year for squad players, and I think they all flattered to deceive. Plymouth away being the main one, and then we seen Slot didn't really. There was just lads you knew he didn't trust. He hated bringing on. He just wouldn't play them, and he didn't play them until we won the league. So, like, I can see exactly what they're trying to do now. He's trying to bring. I think Slot wants to look around at any given game week and say, Virgil's not up to it. Well, not up to it, but I need to leave Virgil out. I'm going to start Guehi and Kanate together. I've no problem doing that. Where he'd probably be apprehensive to do that and just wouldn't play Kwanzaa and then just bone Virgil out. We've seen it. It's probably one of the only criticisms we can have a Slot, to be fair. So I don't think he quite rotated as much as we probably thought. But at the same time, I think he's all about, what can you do for me? If I play you, what's the chances of us winning the game? And we seen it with Kwanzaa on the very first game of the season. We're not winning aerial duels. It's giving us less control. I don't have time for you. And I think Dylan O'Rourke put in the chat there, he gets hooked at half time in the first game of the season and doesn't start another game then until after we won the league. So that'll tell you all you need to know. So if you're just doing 1 in, 1 out, like, Guehi for Kwanzaa is an unbelievable bit of business. He's a brilliant footballer. He's one of them. Anytime I've watched him, I've been really impressive. He was the standout for England last year. I thought in the Euros, I thought he was absolutely excellent. He was fucking phenomenal in the FA Cup final that just passed, and he's brilliant most times you watch him. So if we can bring him in, and he's 24 as well, loads of experience, and again, it's that sweet spot of a young lad who's played loads of games. like 100. I think he's played 100. I think the sweet spot at Liverpool is they want to look at you and say he's played about 150 games of professional football. You look at McAllister, Szoboszlai, Endo, who's not young, but they looked at that experience. Wirtz has played a lot of football at such a young age. Frimpong's played a lot of football, and Kirkes is 2 full seasons under his belt now at the Prem, and he's stood out. So you can see exactly what they're trying to do. He's building a team to compete on all 4 fronts, and I don't really think there's not. I think you can count on one hand how many players who are there from last year are probably safe, or probably. Like, I think if a silver bid come in for Gagba, we'd probably see the back from Diaz, you'd see the back from... He's probably looking around knowing exactly what he can get out of every single player and kind of replace him. And that's probably what you need to do. You need to be a little bit ruthless, and that's what Slot is doing, what Jurgen probably failed to do. And it's why Jurgen never retained any of the big ones, in my opinion. From a position of strength, we just didn't do enough. We won the Champions League, we didn't do it enough. We just didn't. And the argument at the time was that squad was probably still in its infancy, and it was, because it goes on to win the league then the following year without actually any real additions. And then we go big then in terms of Jota, Thiago, after we win the league. But I just feel like they realise now we're in a really good position here. We've 2 years minimum left of Virgil, Ali, and Mo, and these are players you build squads around and build a dynasty. And then what you do is you bring big players in to supplement them, so that when them lads move on, these lads are ready to take over the reins. And I think that's what you'd find the sign of a Florian Wirtz will do. Now, whether Guehi is a level to replace Virgil, I think we all know the answer to that is no, because I don't think the centre back to replace Virgil has even been born yet, to be honest with you. I don't think he's on the planet. I think we'll struggle because he's a unicorn of a footballer. But what they are doing is they're making sure that they're doing best in class. Who's probably the best right back on the market we could have got this summer? Jeremy Frimpong. Kirkes, the best left back. I don't think there's any question about it that you could have got, and we're getting him. Florian Wirtz, attacking midfielder in Europe. Jesus Christ, you're not getting any better. We've seen the links to Isak. They're not going away, as Keith said. They're not being pushed off by the regular Joe Soaps. That would have been kiboshed right at the start had there been nothing in it. I think what's happening there, and I'll probably get on to it, what you're seeing is Liverpool are literally going around the houses of all the best players in all the best positions and saying, how much are you going to cost and do you want to play for Liverpool? And if the answer is yes, they're going to the clubs and saying, how much do you want? And who else does that? That's what Real Madrid done for years. That's what United done for years when they won the leagues. Michael Carrick, much you want from him? £25 million. That's huge money. Don't care, I want him. Dimitar Berbatov, what you want? 35 million. We'll take him. And it was huge money at Ferdinand. They done it. They went around buying the best players who weren't already at that club for positions that they needed, and they kicked on. And it's no secret. And we all got our knickers in a twist last year. Well, maybe you didn't, but I put my hand up, and I definitely did. We were all kind of questioning, like, what the fuck is this Richard Hughes fella doing? But I think he deserves an enormous amount of credit, because I think if you look at his body of work so far since coming into Liverpool, I think he's played a blind at a flush. I think he's played the perfect hand at every single turn. The Kwanzaa deal going out it's fucking brilliant. Because if he turned out to be anyway the centre half that you look like, we can just turn around and go. Now, I don't know what it is, but how good do you have to be to convince Bayer Leverkusen? Their record signing, by the way, their record signing, the most they've ever paid for a player will be Kwanzaa. That's the most they've ever paid for a player, by the way. And you're getting them to agree that we could take him back if we want. If he ends up being any good, we're taking him back. You're going to buy him off us now and give us money and pay him his wages. But if he turns into the player he's going to be, then he's coming back to us. Now, people will say, doesn't normally happen, the buybacks, but it's not an obligation. If he stinks the gaff out and it continues, and we never have to worry about him. You only just have to say we got 30 odd million for him and it was a fucking great bit of business. Whereas if he kicks on now, we're taking him back. we're taking an England international back. And I think that's why English players have value, because the home ground thing will always be a thing for English clubs. And with so many players going out onto the continent now, it holds their value. And it's why Dortmund are not as reluctant to go for a Jeremy Gittins or a Joe Bellingham, because they know down the line they're going to make that money on them, because if they end up being England internationals and big clubs that's no good for English players, that they'll hold their value.
To get
So
the money
like
back. Yeah.
it's being mental, right? Because we win the league, and yeah, taking in all the content, and there's still stuff coming out, from when we won the league, and the club have not stopped. They have not stopped. They've There's just been deal after deal after deal. It's Frimpong's in. We knew Frimpong was in, and then Kirkes is going on, and then all of a sudden we're interested in Wirtz. Wirtz is progressing. Wirtz is done. Oh yeah, hold on, Wirtz. We're about to announce Wirtz, and your man Kirkes, we have him in as well. Oh, Isak, we want Isak. Oh yeah, Kwanzaa's on the way out, but Guehi's coming in. Like it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, the business Liverpool are doing, and the speed they're doing it, and the efficiency they're doing it. Like, how can you spend 120 odd million on a player and feel like you're getting a good deal? How often does that happen? How often does it happen?
To be
I
fair,
think they need to be. There needs to be. Everyone is given, and it's kind of annoying me a little bit. It's all Michael Edwards. Richard Hughes. Give it Richard Hughes. He's the one behind all this, and he deserves his flowers big
talks about
time.
him all the time.
Yeah, there's so much left now. Like, it's not even the 4th of July yet, and we're going to start working on lads going out, and then it's going to be like someone said, house money there. Then we're playing with Monopoly money to buy fucking. I genuinely think they're going to do Kirkes, they're going to do Guehi, and they're going to buy 2 more. I think they're going to buy 2 more. I think we're going to end up with 6 new players in this window, 7 if you include the goalkeeper.
But
You could say that's probably. You could probably say is how much is too much, but what are we losing? And again, I'll go back to what I started with. How many minutes are going out? I'd love to know. How many minutes are going out.
Well, I'll tell you. Ashley says in the Premier League, so the Premier League is about 3,400 minutes, I think. In total, if you have 38 games, 90 minutes, I think it's about 3,004 or 3,005, I think. Kelleher 900, Kwanzaa 488, Elliott 360, Chiesa 140, Nunez 1100, Tsimikas 832. So one of them breaks 1,000 minutes, and most of them are at a quarter of the minutes. Some of them are at an eighth of the minutes. Some of them are less than that. So that's what you're losing. Gatman Stav says the buyback on Kwanzaa is vital as well. We need to keep Chiesa though. He's our win the dog. He's all over Chiesa. Emma, we keep talking about, an overhaul, and it does feel it is an overhaul. Whether it's an overhaul you would have had years ago where you go, all these players are fucking shite, let's bring in another load and like roll the dice. It doesn't feel like we're rolling the dice. It feels like it's very meticulous as to what they're doing. It's very like, it's not like, why are we buying 3 midfielders? Or why are we buying? It's like, that makes sense. And it's been thrown out there for a while, but we're doing it. And like we spoke about Kwanzaa. Just for argument's sake, we spoke about Kwanzaa and we were saying, do you sell him? Do you loan him? They've basically loaned him. Now, someone said in the chat there that the buyback is something like 86 million euros. But 86 million euros is, I don't know where that number's come from, but if it's true, it's 75 million pounds, right? But if he goes over and he's winning leagues in Germany and stuff like that, and you have to buy him back, that's the risk you take. It feels very meticulous, Emma, as to what they're doing.
Yeah, we spoke about it on Thursday. I don't think, bar the one that we lost, I think everybody that's going to come in compared to everybody that's going to go out is an improvement. And it is Slot, and it's basically what Slot has said from the minute he arrived, is that we've already got a really good squad. The only way that we will improve on it, or the only way that we change that, is if we can bring players in that will improve it. So every single player that we're bringing in, clearly he sees as being able to improve the squad. On Thursday, we said, starters-wise, it's not that much. And even if we go as many as what Shawnee is saying, 6 or 7, I don't think there's not 6 or 7 starters there, but there are 6 or 7 people that are going to push to start. I'm not sure we had that last year. So he didn't trust the players. We didn't rotate enough. geez, I thought Elliott was great in pre-season. I think everybody thought Elliott was going to get his shot and then didn't get a sniff. But look, the Kwanzaa thing going to, I said this earlier on, I think £30 million and a buyback is an unbelievable deal. So some people think that it's too low. You probably would have expected maybe that to be a little bit lower with the buyback. But I think it's actually a great deal. If it then means that you bring Guehi in, who is real experienced and will push either one of the two, probably not Van Dijk to be realistic, but probably will push Kanate for his spot. I think we probably, and I suggested earlier on that we probably look to do another one. Maybe not even a player that's going to come in. Maybe the likes of a Hato or Lukeba, who's been spoken about, and you maybe do a deal for one of those, but leave them where they are until next year. And if there's a possibility that Kanate is going to go, I know Shawnee, you were thinking that he's probably going to sign. Or do we, like, anything can happen this summer? Do we have a conversation around Kanate and he doesn't want to sign? We say, right, you've got until X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, we're going to try and get a fee for you, and you're gone. That wouldn't surprise you either. But it's exciting. We've gone through so many summers where we didn't really have anything to look forward to. I'm kind of hoping it slows down a little bit. I like reading the rumours while I'm on my holidays, and I'm not going till August. So if we could keep maybe one or two back, Keith, keep one or two of them transfers back until August, and I'll be happy. But it's like
Keith
football
left in
is
charge to be known fucking left in August, by the way.
Out with them, off with their heads.
He's selling the Anfield Road end, and he's fucking, you know.
But I think it's been so exciting that it feels like football hasn't stopped. Right, we're not watching matches, but there's something every single day. Normally, you kind of get the old withdrawal symptoms when the football stops, and it's like, oh, there's nothing going on. You end up watching some sort of fucking fourth tier in, well, I won't slag South American football, fourth tier in Brazil football or something, just to watch football.
Keith's favourite.
But this is keeping you peak. This is piquing your interest all the way through. And you have to remember, is what 2 weeks from now they're back in pre-season training and it starts all again. But it's so exciting. I don't think it's too much. I said that on Thursday. I think it's going to be a much more solid squad. We said that it's competition for places. Sometimes subconsciously you can get a little bit comfortable if you think, look, I'm going to be on the only ones that you really kind of think are Alisson, Van Dijk and Salah. Everybody else will probably be thinking, I need to put it in training here. I need to put it in games here. So I get the starting spot. Bradley will want to get the starting spot over Frimpong. Whichever of the two to stay, probably I would like it to be Robertson over Tsimikas to maybe guide Kerkez, but if either one of those two stay and Kerkez, they want to fight out for a position. Diaz fighting with Gakpo, all the lads fighting for the midfield berths, and then whoever we bring in up top. I think it's exciting times ahead. It's gone are the days where it's Jovanovic, Joe Cole, Danny Wilson. Like when we did a lot of transfers back then, all Stockings and Shy standing in the stand. This is unbelievable. This is Verts is a world class. I think we spoke about this. I don't know whether it was on here last week or was in a WhatsApp group or something. It is probably since Torres that you're kind of nearly signing an established world class player. I think it's the most exciting transfer, I think, since probably Torres. Everybody else is and everybody else will say, oh, well, Van Dijk, but I don't think Van Dijk was the best defender in the world when we signed him. Like Shawnee said there, that you've got Verts coming in and arguably one of the best 10s attacking midfielders. Probably Musiala is up there with him. Most exciting players in the world. And we've gone and done it. And he's not begging, but he was looking forward to coming to Liverpool. He chose us. He had the conversations with City. He had the conversations with Bayern and Real Madrid, and he chose Liverpool. And that slot, he mentions a lot of slot. We mentioned Richard Hughes, I think is an enormous amount of credit. I know there's one person in particular in the chat that won't like that. He might be coming around to it, but if you listen to the way the Kerkez even talk about Richard Hughes, if he wanted us to go and play in India, we'd go and play in India. Like that's like there's other people saying things about him as well. Shawnee said it from early when we found out that he was coming in, that he's known as the address
The
book or something like
contact,
that.
the
Contact
contact
book.
book. Yeah,
Yeah,
used to be calling them. Yeah.
Big
he
foil
holds
of
an
facts.
awful lot.
Remember? Big
Yeah,
foil of facts.
yeah. He holds an awful lot of weight, and I think he's done an absolute. And I agree with Keith as well. I think we're going to go big now, but the rest of this, like maybe January, probably won't do that. Next summer, maybe if there's somebody leaving or somebody that's looking to improve on, that's one in or one out, one in, that kind of stuff. We won't go this big for a long time now.
No.
But that's all you have to do. That's all
it's
you
really,
have to
it's
do,
really
really,
like
isn't it?
it's really like we've caught up on the two. We've always said we've been 2 or 3 windows behind.
Yeah,
I think what they're doing now is they're catching that slack, they're reeling in that slack, and then it'll just be a top up process.
Yeah,
from there on.
listen, I don't disagree. I think, you know, the evidence is there for last season where I said it. I think that one of the biggest weeks was PSG and Newcastle, where he looked at his options and went, I need more. We'll go and win a league, and we'll win it with what I feel we can win it with. But I think we need more if we want to go on all fronts. And listen, if we'd have got through PSG, God knows what happens in the next round. You know, the sort of way, because it felt like if he needed to use other players, and that's not a slight on them, it's just what he wants and what he wants out of them, they probably couldn't meet. And it's kind
we
of
would have
shown.
beaten Arsenal.
Was it Villa they got in the next round?
We would have beaten them as well.
Yeah.
We would have won it, wouldn't we?
We would have won it, actually. We would have won it. What am I talking about? Sorry, boys. Sorry to everyone in the chat. Right. Anyway, Keith, you know, people are saying, you know, this player comes in and does this fella get in the team, does that fella get in the team? I don't really look at it like that. I look at it as, I think they can push each other on. Everyone will be fresher as the season goes on, because with more options there, yes, you know, the fella that's playing 3,000 minutes this season might play 2,500 minutes this, you know, next. But in doing that, it gives him more of a break, and the other person can come in, and you'll see an awful lot of chopping and changing. Not too much, I hope, because I do like quite a steady side. I'm not going to lie, but it's just options, and it's 1 for 1, and it's quality, and it's this like that. And you see, like, even if you want to put Elliott up against Wirtz, you're saying if Elliott leaves and you bring in Wirtz, that's a difference. But do you see a little bit of a curveball coming here where we lose a player that you kind of go, oh, I'm not sure on that one? Because I don't think, you know, even Robertson going, people have said, look, he's on a lot of money, he's declining, you know, maybe it's the right time and stuff like that. But like, I feel like if we lost to Diaz or we lost a Gakpo, I'd be kind of going, a great summer, but that's tainted a little bit, because I don't want to lose that quality. Do you feel like there's a curveball coming here?
I'm not too sure if it'd be a curveball. I mean, I think, as I think Emmett said, like Alisson, Virgil, and Salah will be the 3 non-negotiables, I'd say, and everything after that, I think, could be. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it'll be on our terms at the moment. So I love Alexis McAllister. I think if Real Madrid came in and offered big money for Alexis McAllister, I think Slot and Yills would be like, yeah, on you go. We'll get someone else in there. Whether it be the right thing or not, I don't know. But I don't think any player will be, of the existing players, will be untouchable for it to come in now. Andy Robertson, we spoke about him. I think his decline was probably a bit over-exaggerated. He has definitely dipped in the last year. I thought he came back all right as the season went on. But he's definitely on the downward trajectory. But it's his personality and his character that's, you know, the value in Andy Robertson at the moment. And you're thinking, Jesus, if Robertson was to go, that's probably the biggest character in the squad that would be going, and Liverpool will just replace him with someone else. So look, I don't think there will be a curveball as such. We could end up selling Diaz and we could end up selling Gakpo, and I think it'll be justified, and I think we'll go out and just get a replacement. And when we get the replacement, and we're putting our trust in this team to get the right replacement, you'll be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's go and let's see where this brings us. Because when you look at the players we're being linked with, if it's let's say Diaz or Gakpo that go on the left wing, and it's Anthony Gordon's name that's getting thrown out all the time, and some people like Anthony Gordon and some people don't. I think Anthony Gordon's a good player. You know, I think Anthony Gordon is a good player. I think he's an established Premier League player. He's an international player. I think he would be an excellent sign. He's a Scouser. He's all this. He ticks every box. Or you could go for a Malik Fofana at Lyon, who's a young lad who's raw as fuck, but could be exciting. And if they done either or there, you'd be like, right, well, if this is the lad that they think is the right player for us, we'll trust him and we'll go with it. So nothing would surprise me with regards to ins and outs. Well, ins would be different because I know Davey T's in the chat there, a resident Newcastle fan, and he was pouring cold water on the Isak link earlier from the Newcastle side. But, you know, if the Liverpool had to sign Isak, that would be a huge shock.
It's
a
the
huge
Newcastle
surprise.
journalists pushing this, by the way. That was not Liverpool's.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing in all
exactly.
this.
The only ones that seem to be talking about it are Newcastle based or Newcastle.
Put it this way: if Liverpool don't sign a striker this summer, Davy T, I wouldn't be ordering an Isak 9 jersey next year anyway. Put it that way, because I think the only way that's going to happen this year is if Isak rocks up the pre-season now in 2 weeks and says to Eddie Howe, "See that fucking Tyndall fella beside you? I can't stand him anymore. I'm going to win trophies. I'll see you later." I think that's the only way it's going to happen. And I think if that does happen, Liverpool will pay and Newcastle will sell. So I wouldn't. It's not something I'd write off, but that's, to me, that's going to be the biggest tell now. If Liverpool don't sign a striker, you'd be nearly buying an Isak jersey for the following year, I think. But like Keith said, Gordon or Fofana, like it's you just have to trust them now, isn't it? You just that's what it is. Oh, like I would have liked a Saudi bag for Nunez or Diaz, but I'm happy to hold on to the rest of them, to be honest with you, as it is.
I'm on record as saying I don't want Anthony Gordon. I don't see in any way how he's an upgrade on Luis Diaz or indeed Cody Gakpo. But
Well, I tell you,
will you just
what
say
way
that you
they
have to
look at it,
trust?
Gav?
I would. Yeah,
I tell you the way they look at it. They look at it as if it's a younger player who we can definitely improve if we bring him in. Diaz at maximum value now after what we're getting out of him. We're not going to sign a new contract, and he's either going to go for free. So probably the best time to cash in and then just rejuvenate that area. Where if you buy a Gordon, he's your left winger for the next 5-6 years. Whereas we don't actually have that now with the club. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I think they look at it. Again, I think they look at holistic and long term. Whereas if it's season in, season out, I'd see our argument. But the reason being is it will probably cost less to sell Diaz now and get Gordon in than give Diaz a new contract and then wait a couple of years and buy someone else.
Yeah, it will cost you more, and if Gordon has a good season, his numbers go up. I'm not sold on him whatsoever. And like, listen, I've not been sold on many as a player, and they've come along and been really good. So it's not like I'm any sort of fucking expert on this. No, sorry, hold on. Yeah, I have. Sorry, I had Keith back there. Shawnee, I'll stick with you. Let's go through chances of what happens here. Marc Guehi, just because we've mentioned him a hell of a lot. We know Quanta's going or gone. I think he's still at that 21 tournament. England had a good win against Spain, didn't they, yesterday? And it feels like his name is just the only one really up there. You know, people were saying Hato and stuff, and then I read during the week that Hato said no, he wants to stay at Ajax, isn't it? But the Guehi stuff, at the moment now, it's a bit like, I've seen one or two things thrown out where Guehi wants assurances on game time, and I'm kind of like, I don't believe that, because we wouldn't be in the conversation, I don't think, if
top players don't think like that.
No, yeah. But that's the thing. Don't think Liverpool are in the conversation. But if Liverpool, the talk is Liverpool are in the conversation around £30 million, and Palace are around £50 million with a year to go, and others are saying no, we'll just see out the year of his contract, and you know, he was priced out moves by whoever's in charge of Palace. Is your man Parish still there? Don't fucking Parish. Is still him. He's being priced out, and now he's just going to turn it on his head and go, right, well, I'll just stay for another year and I'll take me big money move next year. Where do you think this sits at the moment? I'm going to say it out straight. I think Liverpool signing for 35 to 40 million pounds.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's just a poker going on. Again, I think it's what I said earlier. I think they probably have a list of players where Guehi lies on that. He's probably number 2. I'd imagine Dean Huyson was number 1. And I imagine that was the one they were willing to do the 50 mil on. But it's Liverpool are Florentino, Perez and Crystal Palace now, as if to say, right, we want them. They're pricing you out at move. Tell them you're going to sit there for a year and you only want to play for Liverpool. and that'll get them out of bed. And I reckon that's what's happening. And I reckon you're right. I think it'll be anywhere between 35 to 40 million pound. And I think at that, an experienced Premier League international, like Keith said, leadership ability. You listen to people talk about him, his character. I know there's been other stuff that people don't like, and I can understand that. But I think in a footballing sense, it's an absolute no-brainer, and on which I think it gets done. I hope it's not one that just drags on into late into the winter, though, because Palace are being a little bit stubborn. Palace are famous for pricing players out of moves. They should let bleeding Paul Wilfred Zaha at that club for a long time, and then just kicked them out of the club. And just talking now, Eze is being priced out of different moves as well. So I can see it happening, because I don't think Palace are in a position to kind of cut off that nose despite that face in terms of turning down 40 million. They turned down 75 last year from Newcastle, wasn't it? It was in the region. It was.
I think it was
huge money.
and
I think
then
they slapped that price on him, did they?
yeah,
Sorry,
but it was a
yeah,
60
yeah.
million pound bill. I think Newcastle and Davy might be able to tell us more. And then Chelsea went in January, and when they turned down Chelsea took Chalobah back off loan.
Yeah.
Do you remember? It was all sorts of mess.
I can see it getting done. I can see it getting done. On which we're in the 35 to 40, and if it doesn't, they'll have someone else that they're looking to bring in. So again, I'm not panicked about it. But yeah, Marc Guehi as a footballer, I really like him. I rate him highly, to be honest with you. I think he's class. I think if he was playing on continent, people would pretending to be watching him. You know what I mean? Whereas that's the type of player he is. If he was playing on the continent, there'll be loads telling you he played. The thing that's most impressive for me is that he's bow-footed as a centre half. He could play either side, and he's excellent on the ball. People are weirded out the fact he's 6 foot. Like, will you bleeding stop? Some of the best centre halves ever, and not breaking 6 foot. And I'm not saying he is, but I think you're reading into it too much. These lads are athletes that they're well able to deal with. I think in all the metrics, the lads who are crunching the numbers at Liverpool, happy to go with him. They're not going to leave any stone unturned. If they think there's any facet of his game that doesn't suit their system, they're not going to buy. It's as simple as that. I think it's a fucking great signing. I
think 40 million is great. Like, I know there's a year left.
Look, it's mad. It's mad. Like, Kirkes is younger than Bradley, and Konate will be younger. Guehi be younger than Konate. So again, you're just like for like. Listen, you can sit me down. You can show me every fucking umbrella chart you want. You can give me a wire scout account and tell me to sit through fucking 10,000 minutes of Jurel Kwanzaa. You're never ever going to you're never going to convince me he's a better footballer than Marc Guehi is now, because he's just not. And that's just the cold hard facts.
Yeah,
nothing
I think you are buying potential,
but just buying a better player.
Yeah, I think, but I think,
and the word ceiling does me fucking head in.
Yeah,
has a higher ceiling. What? I might not say ceilings. I'm probably living on the balcony. There's no ceilings here. You want to be good now. You're again coming in fucking good. I've seen fellas with high ceilings and the whole fucking roof's collapsed. It's simple as that. They never got to them. So I'm not interested in them. You know what I mean?
I think with Guehi, people are saying, a year left in his deal, is 40 million too high? I think what they're looking at is he's 24 with that experience. Forget the contract for a minute. Right, the contract, you know what it is? He's probably a 60 million pound centre back, but you're getting him for 40 because he's a year left. That's the way to probably look at it. And then they're saying to themselves, he's 24, signs a 5-year deal with Liverpool, adds so much to what we have at centre back, and it is potential we're actually signing in this one. Funny enough, and I know he's not 19 or 20, but
the only thing I don't like is he spells his name with a C, not a K.
Yeah.
That annoys me.
That.
Did he?
No, that. Yeah, right. that annoys me a little bit.
That's his fault. I don't think he done it himself, lads.
Yeah, well, what's his dad's name? His dad's probably Mark with a K or something. Fucking Egypt.
And it could be him. He might have changed it. He could have changed it, Gav. We need to verify this.
Well, I'm demanding if he signs that he needs to change his name by Deep-Hole to Mark with a K and stop your messing.
Right.
Yeah.
We might try to write that into the deal. That could be the one that kills the deal, and Keith will be crying because he hasn't got the 7.
Oh, then you know what? I'd rather have Mark Bosnich with a K as centre half than with a Marc Guehi
fucking
another thing about Guehi as well is that with the talk that Robbo might be going, he's a captain. He's the captain of Palace. he's a leader. We were talking about if Robbo goes, are we losing a leader like from the team? You're kind of nearly replacing him with another. And we've got several international captains in the squad as it is already. So he has leadership qualities as well. I think is really good.
Listen, I'm not against. Where do you want to, Emma, with regards to the chances of?
Yeah, I said I didn't know him until maybe a year or two ago, and I started watching him. Then watched him a little bit closer now. I thought he was excellent for England last summer in the Euros. He probably was their best defender. I was listening to the Anfield rap earlier on, and they were saying that Tuchel doesn't seem to know who to pick between him or Konsa. And that maybe Guehi might feel that if he does go this whole guaranteed minutes, does he feel that by going to Liverpool, if his numbers or his minutes are limited, does then Tuchel start leaning towards Konsa? So there's probably a lot going through. It's probably not in terms. It's not probably a slam dunk in terms of him saying 100% yes. And there may be questions around where do you see me playing and etc. But I'm sure Slot will put his mind at ease if they end up having a conversation about what he foresees for them. I definitely, we were talking about it on Thursday. Like, you've got 5 substitutions. Like, you'd easily change 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and a forward every single game. Like, do you know what I mean? There's going to be plenty of minutes and plenty of games for all these players to keep these lads happy. I'm just delighted that there's going to be more competition, and I think Guehi coming in provides competition for both Konate and for Van Dijk. And like I think it was Shawnee said earlier on, if you're looking at maybe you're coming up against a Sunderland or whoever, you kind of think, well, look, we want to keep Van Dijk for that City game the weekend or something like that. We'll start Guehi, or we'll play Van Dijk for 60, bring Guehi on to see out the last half hour. There's going to be plenty of minutes for players coming in.
I don't think Virgil gets close to all them minutes last season if we have a Marc Guehi in the squad. I don't think he gets close to him.
Who did we try to sign last? Who was the one we were linked with last year?
Lenny Oro.
Yeah, Lenny Oro. Like, they want the left-sided centre-back, but again, they're not going to just do him. Like, it's the buzzword again. It's opportunistic. I think this is at the coming up, and he's not going on. Like, they've got in his ear. I'd imagine this is probably further down the line than we imagine. Because I keep asking the question, and I'd love to know. Like, I'd love to kind of.
You probably have a point, because we're letting Kwanzaa go while he's at an international
tournament. He's at a tournament. Like, you know, like that's the big telltale for me. Kwanzaa's away. Like, that's done. He's just waiting on his medical.
It's not rumour. It's not.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like Joyce or the usual suspect come out and said they're going to explore options. It's like, they want Marc Guehi. Like, I'd love to know. Like, I'd love to be a real in the know and know how far we are behind on transfers, because it's all coming out now that, like, Slot was talking to Wirtz in March. He's talking to Wirtz since March. We've been talking to Frimpong apparently since before Christmas. Like, you know what I mean? Kirkes, that fella's gone to sleep in Liverpool pyjamas every night the last 6 months.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, so it's probably way further down the line than we imagine. And again, and that's why that's why I hold optimism for the Isak stuff, because, like, that would have been poo-pooed a long time ago. And people saying PR, like, I'm just being honest with you, like, saying you're going to do something and not doing it is poor PR. I'm just letting you know that, by the way. People need to wrap their head around that.
No, I think PR
PR
stands
for public relations, and it's about your perception in public. So it doesn't really look good if I turn around and say you're going to do something, you don't do it. That would be considered bad PR. Yeah, so
that's used to how it works, Johnny. It's not that like that anymore.
There's economics 101 for you. For
well,
all
Red
the
Steve said, I just googled what is Marc short for, and it said Marc is short for a centre back, and I said 6 foot's not that short, and it said yeah, fair enough. So he's in the chat GPT doing that as well.
Well, the butcher is shorter, isn't he? So
who?
The butcher.
Somebody mentioned Cannavaro earlier.
Fucking brutal.
Yeah, he's not a great.
Cannavaro wasn't
Cannavaro, bleeding point-sized pit bull, absolute animal.
Leap like a salmon, for fuck's sake.
Keith, moving away from Guehi for a minute, because I think we're all kind of confident on Guehi, and I think it's a fair point Sean makes. It's probably way down the line, because Liverpool are letting a player go mid-tournament here and going, yeah, you walk away there, we're down to 3 centre halves. and then tell the rest of the world we need a centre back. I don't think that's how we're working.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But on the Isak, whatever you want, let's call him Isak. On him, I'm not seeing an awful lot in Liverpool journals, including them saying, no, Liverpool are not doing that. Because James Pearce would love to come out and go, Liverpool aren't signing him.
No,
He'd love it. Like, it'd be like it'd be better than the 2 weeks he's going to have in the Algarve. Do you know what I mean?
He has it in the drafts like Oppenheimer, I'd say. It's
he's ready, right? But Keith's like, Davey T is there saying, look, Newcastle are very calm about this, nothing much coming out of Newcastle, the player, whatever else. But it's Newcastle-based journalists that, you know, they want to be in with Newcastle and they want to get the exclusive and they want to get the news up front, and you know how it works, a bit like Joyce does and stuff like that for Liverpool, and they're the ones pushing this, Keith, and you know, you're seeing people's heads falling off like, how are Liverpool spending this money? Well, it's just a self-sustainable model, but and when you win things, you're allowed to spend things, and they're forgetting all the money we're taking in, by the way, for these players leaving. It's not like we're letting all these players leave for free and then signing a load of players. We'll balance it up, I would say, really well before the end of the summer. But on Isak, there's too much smoke without being fire here, Keith, for me at the minute.
Yeah, I think he's obviously the target that they want. And as Shawnee said, if it's not this summer, you can bet your bollocks that it's going to be next summer that they'll be really pushing on it. But it is coming from the Newcastle journals. But the likes of Paul Joyce is coming out and saying, like, Liverpool are interested. If there's a willingness to sell, Liverpool will be there. So when you have Joyce coming out saying things like that, now it's been re-quoted in other people, you know what I mean? I haven't heard it from Joyce's mouth, but if you have Joyce coming out and saying that tells you that Liverpool are interested. It tells you he is their number one target. Now, Davey had in the chat there about Isak's injury record, and I agree with him to an extent. He's had a few, not last season maybe, but before that, he certainly had a few scabby injuries, a lot of toy problems or something like that. And you spend that money, you have to be sure. What are you laughing at?
Gareth says,
Cambridge.
I'm convinced Paul Joyce walks around with his profile photo stapled to his face.
Well, I seen a picture of that on Twitter when it was Paul Joyce sitting beside someone and he had the signature on the face.
Go on.
Quality. I don't know where it was now. You fucking interrupted me.
Injuries.
Just about Isak. Injuries. Yeah, like any player can get injured, and when you spend that money, what you don't want is to buy someone that breaks down.
And Davey does say he's 50-50 for an up on a groin.
Yeah, Davy's trying to put us off here.
Don't mind Davy's.
Davy's playing hard to get now.
Yeah, he's
Davy's best mate with your man Luke Edwards, isn't he?
Yeah. It is Luke
Liverpool
Edwards.
will be like putting 50 quid in your dash of the car when it's going in for the NCT.
But I would imagine Liverpool, if it is Isak that they want, and if it is Isak for, let's throw a figure on this. I know Davey will say 200 million. Liverpool will want to closer to 100 million. Let's say Liverpool done a deal on Alexander Isak for 125 million. They're not going to do that without having the absolute faith that muscular injuries are not going to derail them, in the sense as much as they can manage it. You can never fully, rule out any sort of an injury. But they must have faith that if we spend that dough, we're bringing in the striker we want. Whether he's the striker we'd all think is the better. Personally, I'd rather get Julian Alvarez. That'd be my choice. But I think Isak is a good player and is a player that if they went and got him, you'd be like, whoa, it's a statement. Whether they can get it done or not, I don't know. I know the PSR thing does play a big part in it, in the sense of the timings of when signings can happen and can't happen. So, if Newcastle got offered, let's say 120 million, and you believe the rumours that they want João Pedro for 60 million, they get a replacement. I was actually watching the under-21s, and your man William Ursula was up front for Denmark, and he looks a big unit as well. They have him in the wings waiting to come through. Maybe they can say, right, 60 million João Pedro, let's say we bring in another couple of players around the 40 million, 30 million mark each, and they'll have sold one and brought in three good players, and that may be how Newcastle will look at it. Because while I think they're a good team, Newcastle, I think they do need upgrades. They need a few upgrades. I'm not a big Jacob Murphy fan. I think they need a huge upgrade there on the wing. I think they could deal with centre backs. I think they could deal with a goalkeeper. You know, I think there's a lot of positions Newcastle need to upgrade. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, if they do have their eye on a few players, if the money would tempt them, because it's all speculation now until there's actually, you know, cash offered up. Then you'll know what they're made of, what their minerals is.
Shawnee, Elliott looks like he's garnering interest, I was going to say. Is that the right word to use? From Brighton, possibly 40 million. Brighton seem to be interested in Harvey Elliott, and there was we were kind of not arguing, we were discussing today, is a bit low of a fee, is a bit high of a fee. The writing's on the wall here for Harvey Elliott, isn't it? He's going to be used along with Nunez, etc., to bring in the money, and it's pure profit off Elliott as well. He looks like he'd be out. Brighton, good move for him.
Yeah, I think that gets kind of lost with Elliott is people forget kind of how young he is. He's a very, very good footballer. And I don't actually doubt that there's probably a stage in his career where he might be a Liverpool starting level footballer, but I just don't think it's now, and I don't think he's gonna get the development he needs playing for us, the minutes he needs playing for us. I think he's another one who looks. It's funny how him and Kwanzaa's seasons last year kind of mirrored each other, because they were both excellent in pre-season, and then when it came to the crunch, now for different reasons, Elliott gets injured. I think it's in England training, isn't it?
Yeah, he breaks his foot.
So
breaks his foot, I think.
Yeah, breaks his foot, I think, and again, never really. Look, he has impact in games coming off the bench. He's very good. He's a very useful player coming off the bench, but that's only because we don't have someone else like him. And we all said, "Oh Jesus, if Elliott had pace, he'd be fucking brilliant." If Elliott had pace, he'd look a lot more like Florian Wirtz, to be honest with you. And I think that's kind of what we said. He was going to go out and buy a player. He's bought Elliott with pace. He's looked at Elliott and says, "I need a player like him, but I need someone who can run around, but just not him." And I think 40 million is a fair price, to be honest with you. I think it definitely Brighton would definitely suit him. I know there was talk of Wolves. I think he's better than Wolves. I think he'd probably be good enough to probably start for a Spurs maybe, or even I wouldn't say Villa, because Villa are very good in the middle. The likes of Morgan Rogers, but I think Brighton, it's a great move from Brighton. I don't know whether they got European football next year, but it'd be great. It's a good move for him to play every week. I think your man Horsell is a good coach as well, and they play expansive football that'll suit him. So I think 40 million is probably as good a deal for us as it would be for Brighton, and I think we should probably let it, because again, can't really fault them. His fucking attitude and application has been absolutely brilliant. You can tell he's really enjoyed playing for Liverpool. You can tell he cares playing for Liverpool. And again, we go back to it all the time. You can't just throw it about when a player is shy and it's all about their heart and that's all they give. Elliott has been very good for us in spells, and you can tell he's loved every minute of playing for Liverpool. And I imagine it's probably hurting him having to leave, but I like that he has kind of the gall and the wherewithal to know, all right, maybe this is not what's best for me, and I need to move on. He's having a really, really good tournament at the moment for England there in the under-21s. He's been probably the standout player of the tournament so far, from based on everything I've read. I haven't seen much, but I've seen him in the first game, and I watched a bit of the Spain game, and he was excellent. So yeah, we'd be losing a very good player for a good sum, and like you said, pure profit, which is very important. I think it more or less gives us double the value on him, that you make it all back now, because his contract's not amortized, and it's basically everything we make for him will be going back into the club. Maybe Fulham, I don't even think Fulham got that pound of flesh from the hearing, so I don't even think we have to give that to them. So
no, you don't.
Yeah, like I'd make more of a case for Kwanzaa staying around than Elliott, because I think he'd be more useful. I just think I don't see Elliott progressing any further at Liverpool under this gaffer. And I think he'll probably be thankful for it in a couple of years when he goes, you know what, in hindsight, getting out of Liverpool when I did was a fucking brilliant show. And yeah, it looks like it's happening. What I'd love now to happen is for maybe a Spurs or someone else to come in, or someone on the continent to come in, and like maybe a little bit more getting sparked. But he deserves to leave on his own cause. And if it is Brighton, so be it, because you know what, we've done good deals with Brighton. We probably owe them an extra 50, 60 million on our market as well. Let's be honest. If I'm being totally honest, they done us a turn. I know the Caicedo thing didn't work out, but it wasn't for the want to try. But yeah, if it's going to Brighton, I tell you what, I'll be a fan of Harvey Elliott, and I'll follow him, and I'll back, and it'll be one of the players that leaves, and you're like, do you know what, I really want you to do well. So all the best. And do you know, I had the pleasure of actually meeting him once or twice, being over there, and fucking just a great bit of stuff, to be honest with you. And everything you see from him, he's a great bit of stuff. So yeah, all the best to him. All the best to him. But I think in terms of his replacement, it's either being rubbed in your face and everyone else's face over the last 2 or 3 days. We've literally gone and bought the best version. We bought the Leo Messi of Messi of Harvey Elliott, for want of a better term,
Yeah, we did.
in Florian Wirtz. So
We
yeah,
did, and I think he's
I
unfortunate.
think, yeah, I maybe fortunate or unfortunate. I don't know what the word is. 'Cause I think he's fortunate that a manager like Slot is ruthless enough to turn around and say, "Do you know what, I don't really need you, and you're better off going." Whereas Jurgen probably would have kept. And again, it sounds like I'm pissing on Bladen Jurgen's fucking legacy when I'm not. But Klopp probably would have kept Ronaldo till he's 25, 26, and he just probably wouldn't have hit the heights. I think it's the perfect time for him to move on, to be honest with you.
It probably
A
is.
lot of people in the chats are saying about, you know, the prices that Liverpool are selling their players for. It looks to me, Liverpool aren't looking to balance any books here. We're paying what we're paying to get our players in, and we're letting these lads move on. I mean, Kelleher went for a low fee that we all thought would have been much higher. Kwanzaa has gone for a fee that a lot of people think is maybe 10 million shy of what he should have got. And people are giving out about Harvey Elliott. If he does go for 40 million, I think we'll see Darwin Nunez will move on for a low fee. I think, you know, they're just going to get these lads out. We're not going to be, it's not going to be like the Michael Edwards. Remember a few years ago when he was fleecing Richard Hughes actually over when he was at Bournemouth. But it's not going to be getting maximum dollar for these lads and holding on to them and playing that game of chicken, that brinksmanship. It looks to me like they just want to say, right, we're going to move you out. We're not going to we're going to get a good deal for us, but we're not going to make sure that we get every last fucking drop out of this deal. If it's right for you and we feel it's right for us, we're going to move you on. And so be it. You know, they're not looking to, and maybe that'll change, but I just can't see with the lads that are likely to move on. Let's say Diaz, for example, like they're not going to say, oh, well, 90 million or nothing. I think if someone does put up 60 million on Diaz, they'd be like, right, there you go. You can go. 40 million Elliott, you can go. 40 million Nunez, you can go. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to be saying, no, we want 80. They're just going to, I think that, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think they're just going to let them go and move them on and get as much business as they can done early, as early as possible.
Just quickly, Emma, on Darwin Nunez, you know, we've seen links to Saudi, we've seen links to Napoli, I think is the strongest one. That puts the shits up because Napoli will probably offer 15 quid a loan for 2 years with no obligation, you know, all this sort of messing. But that one is probably the one that's just sitting there at the moment, and alright, there's a bit of talk of Napoli, but there's nothing really concrete there, is there, at the minute?
Nothing really concrete, and I would feel the same about Napoli. But Shawnee made a very good point. Like they've sold Kvaratskhelia or whatever the way you pronounce them.
Kvaratskhelia,
yeah, and they've a few bob there to pay. Others saying that they'll probably wait to try and move Osimhen on somewhere, and then maybe come in for both Chiesa and Nunez. There was no everybody thought that Nunez was going to be gone as soon as the window opened, but the crowd in Saudi that were interested in him aren't in this Club World Cup, so they were never going to be kind of trying to get him signed for it. I think he definitely goes. I think he's one of the numbers that the reason why Wirtz hasn't been announced with a number until later on in the summer is that he's probably getting one of 14, 19 or 9 from Elliott, Chiesa or Nunez. I think it's time for Nunez to go. I think he will put up good numbers. I think he'll do really well at Napoli. I do think he'll do well elsewhere. He just doesn't suit us. It's like the job was too big for him, because I've looked back at highlights at Benfica and he was unbelievable.
When you see his highlights when he leaves us, it's going to
Yeah.
be unbelievable as well, because he won't show the good things he done, and he done some great fucking things.
If you even go and look at his goals for us, like there's some unbelievable goals that he scored for us. Assist wise as well, he's done well, but it just I don't think he's reliable enough. When Wirtz comes in, he's going to be creating all sorts of chances for your forward. You need to know that you've got a forward there that's going to be able to put them away. And I don't think Slot sees Nunez as being that person. I wouldn't be letting him go for only 40 million though. I think Keith's right. We're not going to be haggling over 5 million here or there. If we get in and around what we're looking for a player, we're not going to be kind of holding them to ransom. We'll let them go. I think we should be looking somewhere between 45 and 50 for Elliott. But if they're offered 40, they probably accept it.
Kevin De Bruyne's going to be like fucking Damon Gallagher by the end of the season. All the balls he puts on a plate.
Frank Gallagher.
You see, I have to look at it as well. Liverpool paid £64 million for Darwin Nunez on a 5-year deal, I think. So you're looking at
they won 60 apparently. I think.
Yeah, but 13 million a season. He's played 3 seasons at Liverpool. So if Liverpool are paying 13 million a season, they've paid 20
probably only going to make about 20 million of it.
Yeah, they've played probably 39 of 64, which leaves 25 if my maths is right. And if they get 45 to 50 on it, they haven't turned a profit on them. But in today's finances, it's a plus to them on the books and that's how it works now.
The big thing about Nunez and Chiesa is the wages. Harvey Elliott, not so much. I think Harvey Elliott's only on 40. Nunez is on 150 and Chiesa is on 150. That's 300 grand a week for lads that, like, Chiesa barely kicked the ball. I think he played a total of 20 minutes or 24 minutes or something in the Premier League, was it? At 150 grand a week. Nunez the same. And that's another thing about the signings that we're bringing in. Like, Frimpong probably won't be earning what Trent was. You've got Kerkez won't be earning what maybe Robbo was if Robbo moves on. So you're bringing in these improvements, but they're actually lowering the wage bill nearly at the same time. Even Wirtz coming in is not on he was muted to be on 340. He's only on 200 grand a week. If you are bringing in big names for big money, you'll probably be paying more wages. So that I think the way they're doing this is really, really good. I know there's lots of fear around homegrown and non-homegrown players and all, but like,
they're not going to get to the end. They're not going to get to the start
that's
of
what
the season and go,
oh
fuck.
Yeah, bollocks.
It's all about the homegrown. Bollocks.
Well, one player over.
They are on
player
top
over on the non-homegrown, and that Calvin Ramsey is on that list. So Calvin Ramsey will be sent back in Scotland.
Nunez,
gone.
So
104 minutes for Chiesa. There you go.
In the Premier League.
In the Premier League, yeah.
24 is a bit.
Well, that was probably. Did he play a full game towards the end of the season?
Don't know. 104 minutes is actually.
Well, Gabe was one of the greatest songs we've had in years. So for that alone, I mean,
I'd give him 150 grand of the year. Just
I would literally hold them around just so we could sing her on the concourse. To be honest with you,
yeah. That's I'm not against
it came too late, didn't it? It only came. it only played in the road, and now it's going to be gone.
Yeah, we'd have to give it. And Liverpool don't usually give it to someone else.
But again, like, that's kind of then, like, it all leads into each other because it's the opportunity thing. They probably feel like, and this is what, if people are thinking that they won't do the 125 on Isak, whatever way you want to pronounce it, they probably see
it's Alexander Isak.
Yeah, well, whatever. Let's say Isak, because it's IKEA, isn't it? So I'll say Isak, so IKEA. With a K. iPhone, yeah. iPass, we won't get into that. That's a different sort of thing.
Don't get into the iPass.
Don't get on me, he's rattling. Listen, wrong place, wrong time, I'm only having a buzz. Like, they probably feel like 125 on the fella off Newcastle is probably less of a gamble than the 60, 70 million for the Ekatike from Frankfurt. You know what I mean? And but if that one doesn't materialise, I could actually see them doing the Ekatike one, because I actually think his profile is identical to Isak's before he leaves. Isak's before he leaves Sociedad. That profile is very similar. That they kind of so, and I think we actually have room for one project player in the front line. To be honest with you, because I think
it
we
should
score
be
loads of
Chiesa.
goals. Yeah,
Chiesa
just for the
should be a
song.
project. Yeah.
Yeah, he just needs to change his name to a K as well.
Yeah, Ashley says, be careful, lads, with the pronunciations, or the chat will come after you. Yeah, Ashley, I think, pronounced his, I think it might have been Isak or Isak the other day, and somebody in the comments after went, can you not just pronounce it right? Because way too much time.
It's mad how they only ever come after the girls, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll ask him, how did he say Gary Doherty?
Yeah.
Doherty.
Yeah.
Gallagher.
Mark Kinsella.
Yeah.
Kinsella.
Ronnie Moran.
Yeah.
Ronnie Moran. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fucking agents.
Here's the end of that. So we're going to leave a comment afterwards with regards to pronunciations. Just remember, you're a fucking idiot. Shawnee.
Do you know the 5 lamps? Hang your bollocks
off. Right, before we go, I've been informed of this before. I haven't seen it, so you're going to fill me in. But apparently, Danjuma, the man who was at Villarreal, apparently knocked into Arne Slot's gaff in Feyenoord and said, I'm here to talk about moving over to Feyenoord. And Arne Slot proceeded to open up a laptop, show him all the bits he showed you, and say, listen, I won't be signing you. Yeah, brutal. Shawnee, is this true? Please tell me it is.
Yeah, from the horse's mouth. I read it, I was pissing myself laughing. Steve O'Daly actually sent it to me formerly of this parish, because you know Steve was very ruthless type. He said, what about this? So I read it. Yeah, Danjuma was playing for Villarreal at the time, and thought he was on a lovely one onto the end of a big transfer. Totally had a meeting set up at Arne Slot, rocked up to his gaff, and he said, I literally left with me Mickey in my hand and my tail between my legs. I walked out the door going, what had to happen there? I'm at the walking in. I'm at the walking in here now, thinking I'm signing for Feyenoord, and I'm telling my agent to ring Wrexham there because he might be struck for a winger. He just said he picked this whole game apart.
Where did this come from though?
I don't know. I think he was asked about. I thought his time in England and the Premier League and Slot. I think Slot was actually.
I think it was. Did you expect him to do so well when he came to?
Yeah, and he basically said he knew after that he was going to be a high level operator. But like we heard it from 66. Or the fella with the single barrel line these days.
Madonna.
Yeah, he said he got pulled into the office by him at the start of the season and was basically showing everything. I genuinely don't think we realise the calibre of the fella we have at the helm of the club, lads, to be honest with you.
Did it to Salah about how he
I genuinely don't. I think if we start well next year and we're kicking on in all competitions, I think his reputation is going to just start going in front of him. I don't even think it has yet. And I think that's what frightens a lot of people, because they're like, oh my god, this fella come in, won the league without spending a penny, bought a fella just so we could sing a song for him, and now he's ripping the squad apart going, alright lads, no more messing, no more acting the bollocks, what we are here. And it's fucking brilliant. And I don't know whether he's had a chance to see Frimpong's first interview he done it with Kop TV. Jesus Christ, lads, I couldn't be more in love with that fella, but tried. He's fucking just a great bit of stuff.
I haven't seen it. Is it the
his answer? Every answer is perfect. Every answer is perfect.
Is Alex still interviewing him?
Yeah, you can tell he hasn't had a day of media training in his life. He's like, big shoes replacing Alexander Arnold. He's like, I'm going to play right back for Liverpool. That's big shoes as it is. Yeah. And he's like, I'm what do you expect? He's like that champions. Like that, do you know what he actually says? That champions. Like, do you know what I mean? That champions. Like, I know what I'm going into. And he bigged up Fritz as well. So yeah, look, I won't be watching any pre-season games because the thing that dawned on me, and it's actually, I've been triggered since I kind of copped it, just how fucking awful last year's home kit was. I'm sort of
You
seeing
don't
videos
like it
walking
at
around.
all. You don't like
Yeah,
it.
and I'm even looking at it in them pictures. It's fucking brilliant. I spent 120 brick on it a few weeks ago in Liverpool, but fucking the state of it, I was a pain in my tits looking at it. To be honest with you, I can't wait
Yeah.
until we're in the Adidas gear.
Hold on.
But
It's
Shawnee
another
handing over
pinstripe
120
number that
quid in
won the
Liverpool
league.
going, I hate this. I'm actually giving you this money and I hate this jersey.
I'm actually trying to bring it back. I'm going to bring it back to that shop in Liverpool.
You have to wait until
Sick of
August
it.
the
I'm
4th.
sick of it. Or even, do you know what? I'm sick of it. And Virtus
They've
Outlet was
closed
in
the
it, and I
shop
was like,
down, Shawnee. They're putting 3 Adidas signs up on the shop. It's closed down in
do you
August.
know what? It's poxy. And again, look, we won the league and whatever, but look at it. It's a poxy looking yoke,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Adidas would want to lash a few pinstripes on their kits because we only seem to fucking
Yeah,
win
and
them
sign a
with
few. So,
pinstripes.
like, honestly, if that looks like a waiter in Eddie Rockets is at the ask me, do you want how many bad tenders do you want in your basket? Look at the state of the thing. Like they made a bollocks of it. I'm getting annoyed now. And do you know what the worst part is? We're going to be running around in China and Hong Kong and that thing, Japan. Fucking stupid.
I think
Yeah.
Out of bollocks.
I think we buy ourselves out of it early, or Adidas buy us out early.
To be fair,
we should run around in Merseyside red Pro Evo kits until the
I'll tell you, I'm going to put something forward now, right? If the 3 jerseys that are coming out next season, I'm 100% behind the idea of playing that green jersey as much as we possibly can. Next home games and everything.
We'll wear it once and that'll be it.
Oh, it's absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, that's what happened with Arne Slot. Poor Dan Giume. Listen. You know,
if Arnie Slot invites you around to his gaff, don't
go.
around thinking.
But he says in the article
story.
himself that he literally picked my game. Now, he obviously picked out parts of his play that were good, but he said it was literally an hour of him telling me where I need to improve.
It wasn't even his player.
And he said he left.
Listen, mate.
Just
I
ringing
don't
up,
know who sent
random
you over
footballers
here.
now.
Come in anyway.
Have
Come
a
on
seat.
in.
Have a seat
Come
there,
here,
John.
I'm after getting 6 chicken fillets in the butcher's there, right? And I'm not going to eat them all myself. Do you want to come around for dinner?
Arne Slot just opened the door. I thought you were a fella delivering me curry. Come on in anyway, actually. Which reminds me, I was only at being watching videos of you. You're fucking shite, lad. You're better off jacking it in.
Oh, stop.
Fucking brilliant.
Dylan says he's seen a fella in Duns with the green kit on. He's never seen a tighter kit on someone. It looked like it belonged to his nipper that was in the trolley. Look, just go size up.
You have to give it to the people wandering around in the snoids, don't they? They don't even give a bollocks anymore. No. Like years ago, if you were in the snoid, you get look, listen, I'm not punching down because I understand the fucking price of the kits now. But some of the snoids are bleeding brutal, aren't they?
When we were in the airport going over to Liverpool for the last day of the season, this lad strolled out as proud as punch into the smoking area, right? And he sat down and he took off. And it was cold out, like it was fucking cold out. It's 4 in the morning. And he proceeded to unzip this jacket, right, and take off his top and put it on the table. And he did Liverpool's home jersey for next season. And everyone was looking and going, that jersey's not even out yet. So it was clearly a knockoff, like, and he didn't give up.
It said Addy Hash on it.
It said Annie Hash on it.
It looked like a bad copy as well.
Oh, it was like, it looked like someone drew on the fucking things with crayon. You know what I mean? But he didn't give up bollocks. He was going out to watch the Reds win the league, so he didn't give up.
We were standing the day we were coming home. We were standing in the club shop in Liverpool 1, and there's a girl walking around in next season's kit, the template of it, but it's black with gold on it. Yeah. Not a bother in the official Liverpool shop, wandering around in a snoid.
Yeah, she was hardly going to get fucking arrested now, Emma.
I'm just saying.
Steve Murphy says he knows a place. The only thing about the place Steve Murphy knows is you have to go up about 8 sizes, and the website address changes every week.
Yeah, but it is the best place.
Football shorts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then next week it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
But he lost me at something you have to do. You have to do with your Revolut to be able to pay with it or something like that.
Davey T says, I saw a tune top today, Newcastle, and it was so tight it only had 1 stripe. Right.
Davey T brings the jokes, doesn't he?
He does. He's fucking top man, isn't he?
He's definitely
in denial over Alexander Isak, but I tell you something, other than that, he's spot on. Absolutely
the rumoured Newcastle third jersey they're trying to copy a jersey that they had back in the 90s, I think. It's like a
What
dark,
colour is it?
like a royal blue with orange
Yeah,
trim.
I seen it. It's lovely.
And
And in fairness,
they had a
The
sash
one
going
last
on the
year
side
was
of them.
lovely.
yeah,
would
The
have
one,
been
the
nice.
home one is
navy and
nice
red
this
one was
year.
lovely.
That was 95, 96. They had that one.
Newcastle
They were taking
Brown
off.
Ale,
The
yeah.
stripe one.
I
That was
genuinely
yellow.
think if I didn't support Liverpool, I'd probably support Newcastle, to be honest with you. That's the truth,
Yeah.
God honest truth.
I'd support
now,
whoever Dan Juma is playing for, I'd support now.
yeah, Dan Juma is actually talking out for Inchicore Athletic next week now.
That's grand. I'll be
After
down
the
there.
chat with the slot.
£8 for
Yeah.
a season ticket, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Right, that's
Like
it.
Arne Slot going on, this is your life, and telling you how life is a load of bollocks. And
Imagine them bringing back This Is Your Life. Michael Aspel,
Yeah.
like, he's probably dead. I don't know if he's not.
He's
Sorry,
well
Michael. But yeah, he just comes out, instead of having the big red book, it's just, imagine, like, do you remember years ago you used to get the covers for the VHSs and they look like library books? Do you remember when you used to put them on the shelf? Shawnee, you won't remember. But it'd be like that.
do actually, yeah.
But it'd be like that. But his laptop would be done in the red. It'd look like a red, cushioned surround to the laptop. And he'd come out and he'd go, this week on This Is Your Life, it's Alex Ferguson. And then he comes out and he goes, you made a bollocks of it with that horse, didn't you? And then he just pick him apart for an hour. And Alex Ferguson there fuming, right? His nose getting bluer and bluer with every passing minute. And then he just says goodbye. And then that's the end of the show. It'll be amazing. Arne Slot for This Is Your Life.
Or if Dan Juma was on This Is Your Life and they said, we're going to bring out David Moyes or whoever the fuck bought him for Everton, says lovely things about him. Now we're going to bring out Arne Slot. Darth Vader music comes on and Arnie just drops out. Shy.
Hello, darkness, my old friend comes across the tannoy as Arne Slot makes his way down the steps.
Actually,
dressed
dressed
like fucking The Undertaker in the early 90s.
What's worse, Arne Slot telling you can't play football, or Dion W telling you a brand new gaff's worth of £5.
Dion Dublin out your backyard with a spirit level is way worse. It's way worse. And all I can keep thinking of is David Dickinson on the side of a pitch trying to tell a fella out like a free kick. I can't get away from that because it's the absolute truth. It's the absolute truth. Do you know what I mean? It'd be like Messi missing the penalty and then David Dickinson walking on going, Lionel, come here and I'll show you. Come here. And he would definitely call him Lionel, by the way. And he'd say, come on over here and I'll show you. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And Messi standing there looking at David Dickinson going, how is he that colour, one? And two, what is he doing here? So there you go. Someone did ask, what about Dion? No Dion Dublin updates this week. We haven't seen anything about him. But if you do see anything about Dion Dublin, let us know. If anyone can find me some of the ads for the beatbox thing that he made years ago and tried to pass it off as the next big thing, I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be fair. That's been it. Keith, anything else before we go?
No, all good.
Good stuff. Emma, anything else before we go?
No, but I have a video here for that beatbox. I'll send it on to you when we finish.
Shawnee, anything else before we go?
No, all good. All good.
Good stuff. Right, like, subscribe, comment. If you want to get on board with our Patreon, you can. The link is in the description, patreon.com/Talkin Kop. We'll have loads coming this week on YouTube and on our Patreon. Loads of stuff that's for now and transfers, but loads of stuff looking back as well on all games, all players and everything else. Thanks to Keith, thanks to Emma, thanks to Shawnee, thanks to everyone in the chat. That's been the Talkin Kop on a Sunday night. If Arne Slot takes out the laptop and says, do you want to have a look at this? Don't do it, but
Not worth it.
it's just going to
Not what you
pull your
think.
whole career apart. Not worth it. Talk to you in a bit. Over now.